Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the FFP Alignment Podcast. It's me, your favorite person, and your also other favorite person, Coach Lindsey.
Hi. Hello,
Hi,
hi.
hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. How was your New Year's? You definitely went to bed early.
I went to bed late for me. I went to bed like 10:30.
Wow.
And my friend threw us like stroke of genius for the older crowd. Because, make fun, blah, blah, blah. But let me tell you this, when you have kids, try telling your toddler that it's New Year's
Are you
and that
talking
you're
about
going
the
to sleep.
Australian thing?
No, I'm just talking about like people are like, oh, you didn't stay up late. Like, baby, I got to get up regardless. I could stay up till 9 p.m. or 4 a.m. The kids
Yeah.
still want breakfast. It doesn't matter. So my choices are to be miserable or not. But
Was
she
it
did
you?
a New Year's Eve brunch.
Oh, I did one of those too.
That's so fun.
It's fun. I did both, but she didn't have it till like 12. So we got to sleep in, catch up. It
Yeah.
was
But
good.
that was New Year's Eve, not even New Year's Day. It was New Year's Eve. And so it
Oh,
was like from 11, it was like a drop in, like 11 to 2, 3. I don't know. I was like, this is money. This is it.
that's awesome.
So I
So yeah,
dreamed up.
I did the New Year's Eve party and then the New Year's Day brunch. So it's a busy weekend.
Yeah. And it was at your house too.
Yeah, that was really fun. I could just go straight to bed and be at my
You looked
house.
really good. Really, really good.
Thank you. I was waiting for months to wear that dress. It was like
As
right
you
below
should
my butt
have.
cheeks. Yeah. It really was perfect. But yeah, I said this before we started recording. There was something I was going to tell you, but I completely forgot. But whatever, we're just going to go along with it. But anyway, so we're here to talk about debunking some nutrition myths. That's what we're talking about today. And we've kind of talked about this probably like a long time ago.
Well,
Do you remember
we
that?
just talk about it, sometimes it's the whole topic. But on every other topic, it usually comes into play because we do spend a lot of time correcting misinformation.
Yeah, and I think that it's
Definitely
just a
part of our job.
recurring thing. Yeah, it's a thing
Mhm.
that just needs to constantly be happening all the time.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
even
there's been a lot for a long time, so we have to spend
yeah,
at least that amount of time counteracting it with the truth.
yeah, that's true. Because sometimes like some of the little lists that we have here that were because there's a lot more, but I think the ones that we're going to talk about today are pretty all inclusive. But some of
Yeah.
them I still have to remember to be like, no, don't think that way. Like you kind of fall victim. Just yeah, you're just like, well, what if there was this thing that could, because science, because, okay, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is the thinking that you need something extra besides changing the way you eat and move just to lose weight. So, like,
Yes.
what comes along with this, you think, like, well, what if there's that pill? Because science is like really smart, right? What if they actually like have the secret pill? You know what I mean? Like, you never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's 100%. And it's funny, like even like your like hopefulness of where everybody wants to buy a light switch. They want to
Yes.
find a light switch, and when they flip that thing, their fitness just starts to happen. And we've been told that we're sold that we are literally marketed to believe, to have hope that when we find this one magic thing that works for us, then losing weight, getting fit, toned, sculpted, whatever you want to call it, will be effortless. And that's what we're
Yeah.
looking for to do, to get more with less work.
That's the dream.
Yeah, but you know,
So, what in your like practice of coaching have people? Do people? Let me frame the question properly. Like, what are things that people come to you with being like, well, can we just do this so it speeds things up? Like, what are some of those things that people like
Oh
try
yeah.
to like get you to do for them?
Well, what I will hear, especially like in this time of year, is I've been eating a lot of like bad foods, a lot of, rich, heavy, fattening, word I hear a lot, foods. Should we do a detox or like a cleanse to
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
jumpstart my body's metabolism to get all this mess out and just kind of really get going? And it goes back to that feeling of I have done these things, so I really kind of need to be punished for a little while. Like
Yeah.
I've gone this far overboard, so to compensate, I need to go super, super strict until I feel like I've suffered enough.
No, you don't need to suffer.
You don't, you don't need to suffer like that. And it's just, it negates the truth of the hard thing is not doing 6 weeks to abs, a 21-day reset, or whatever. That's not hard. What's hard is calling yourself out that what you weren't is you weren't on track. You didn't eat your protein. You didn't stay within your calorie goal for whatever, your current fitness goals are. You went outside of that. So what is the solution for that? Hit your goals. That's it. That's the adverse of that. And I'll say the same thing to any of my clients who are like, I didn't track at all during Christmas. I came back from vacation and I'm this much on the scale. Can we do like a big cut until I get
Yeah.
back to where I was? That it doesn't work like that. That's not how any of this works. The real challenge is in the work you're avoiding.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's literally harder, especially for women, to just start being reasonable again. And that is, after all these years, I'm still amazed at how people would rather not eat than eat well. How that seems so much more feasible to them
Yeah.
than to eat enough and to eat well and to meal prep really good, planned out, thoughtful, goal oriented food. Like, could I just drink 2 protein shakes a day and then eat dinner? Like, that will, I mean, maybe it'll go away one day. I don't think it'll be in my lifetime.
I don't think so either. That is such a great point about like people would rather not eat than eat the right
then,
way.
then be purposeful and put in the effort. And it's work avoidance.
Yeah. Oh, that's a tough pill to swallow. Because
It
we've all
is.
been there. We've all been there. So there's no like shame in it, but I've definitely have thought that.
Yeah. And I mean, there's part of me that gets it because food prepping, meal planning, making sure you have what you need ready, really being conscientious of
Yeah.
having everything laid out. It would be a whole lot easier for me to just go eat I don't know, how does that stuff come? Like a fixed little drink or something? That is technically easier.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
what we know is that if something is a whole lot easier, it's a whole lot shittier. Or no, it's just what it is.
So what you mean by that, like as in a whole lot shittier, is like the aftermath, the sustainability, the
It's just silly. It's smoke and mirrors. It's a money grab most of the time, is what it is.
I hate that. Like that's what boils my blood is that they want my money. That's what make me
That's
see
all
not
they
what fall
want.
for it. That's all they want. Buy my
Yeah.
tea.
Buy my tea, buy my shake, buy my cleanse, buy my supplements, buy my pills, potions, ointments, salves, whatever.
Yeah.
Buy them, and you will always need to buy them to be able to sustain the results.
Yeah, and I think an important distinction too is that like it's on the supplement range and stuff like that, the like, creatine and the this and then that. Like those are can be a part of the process, but like what I've described before is that it one doesn't move the needle all that much, but it's like for true athletes, like for people stepping on stage. You know what I mean? Like because they need that extra little needle move, but it's nothing really important for me. Like I'll do obviously the protein shakes, but I don't have a stack of supplements in my pantry, you know?
Yeah, I take supplements. Zero of them are to help me lose fat.
Yeah.
None of them. They are literally supplements. So I take them because I feel like I may have a hole in my nutrition. So I take things like krill oil, vitamin D, magnesium. They're all health focused and not weight loss focused. And when a supplement, the claim is that it helps you lose weight, don't take that.
Yeah. That word, that fat burner word, it'll get you.
Oh,
Right?
so you know the mechanism behind those? Because like I'm always just so curious because when things are pervasive, in my head where there's smoke, there's fire. Fat burners are always around. So I'm like, what is the deal, pickle? Like, why are people taking these? And if they work, why are we all not very lean?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if something burned fat, everybody would be taking it. Everybody would be taking it. And what it does is it is a stimulant. It different, brands are going to have different ways that they all have a good amount of caffeine. So the fat burner is that it gives you energy and you move more.
Yeah.
It's caffeine or some other kind of like what beta alanine pre-workout, niacin, some kind of jazz you up and get your butt up off the couch jam. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's what those are. If you've ever been curious about how do you burn fat, little pill?
I remember when, I mean, this is a little more niche, but when ketosis was introduced into the world not that long ago. And that was like, I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like the science behind it. You take these little cranberry pills or just something, or a
Yeah.
specific diet to keep you in ketosis for so long. Like, I know, didn't the CrossFitters really get into that?
CrossFit was paleo,
Oh, paleo, that's right. But I remember,
which is whole 30
yeah,
ish. But
yeah,
look, the mechanism, and until like there is some really good, solid evidence to the contrary, everything points to the reason anything works: keto, intermittent fasting, low carb, low fat. Uh, what are some other ones? Carnivore.
oh, yeah,
They all are different ways to put you in a calorie deficit when you look closely at them. So
yeah,
keto is like what all protein and fats, and really, depending on which keto you're looking at, they're not even super high protein; they're super high fat. If you've ever eaten anything high fat, baby, it fills you up. It slows down your digestion.
yeah,
You feel super full, super satiated. So guess what? You eat a lot less, and it also takes away a lot of really fun snacks like candy, cakes, cookies, chips.
yeah,
You can't have any of that. So yeah, probably going to eat less calories than you were when you're that restricted on what you can eat. Intermittent fasting, it takes away a chunk of time where you can consume food, putting most people, at least in the beginning, people will find a way to work around it, but
yeah,
in a calorie deficit because you're eating less and you still have a protein goal. So on and so forth. It's just all of it. That's what it does. And so there's, like a lot of things, like Ozempic, right? What was it made
yeah,
for? Well, people with type 2 diabetes. And they noticed made people lose weight because what it does, right?
yeah,
And same thing with keto. That really helps people with like health conditions. So
yeah,
guess what? When they were on it, they lost weight. And so it's like those cartoons. Like
yeah.
someone sees that and their eyeballs turn into dollar signs.
It spread like wildfire. I remember it.
Oh yeah, yes. It's like remember Latisse? It was made for like glaucoma or
Yes.
something, but it made people's eyelashes grow.
Yes. That was, I remember that, like, everyone wanted, because it was a prescription, that you had to get it as a prescription. So it was like gate kept for so long. Now I can buy it by $30 on Amazon. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah, and everything eventually comes down to that is
yeah,
what does it do for me aesthetically? Because that's what I care about.
it's what we care about. It's for the
Oh,
camp. No, just kidding.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's funny that we talk about keto because, like, the next point that we wanted to debunk was that carbs make you fat. Because I think that's one kind of benefit that keto, we talk about keto all the time, but I think that was one benefit of keto was that, yeah, you were taking away all the carbs, but people also were all about, like, fat makes you fat, right? And that was kind
Hmm.
of disproved that, right? A little
Yeah,
bit.
and I mean it's like
Kind of, as far
calling
as
diet.
mentally, like,
Yeah, and I mean I don't know how things got named, but it seems a little bit gimmicky that body fat and dietary fat are both called fat. It's
yeah,
not the
huh,
same thing. Like, there's nothing in the makeup of it that is even remotely similar. Body fat and dietary fat.
that's
It's
so
like,
true. I didn't ever think about that.
yeah, it's like it's not even close to the same thing, but they are named the same thing. It's super weird, right? That
Yeah.
we think, and obviously, her brains are going to correlate them instantly. I don't know who to blame for this, but it's weird. It's
Yeah.
super, super weird. Dietary fat is essential to literally live. Like if
Yeah,
you did not
literally.
have any dietary fat or any body fat, like you would die. Like they're both essential. It's just, you know, it's a hard thing. It's doing the right thing. It's best for your body composition over an extended period of time. It's the tempo of what it takes to really reach and sustain health and fitness goals is the killer for
Yeah.
people.
So, like, yeah, let's talk about the why people believe that carbs make you fat. Like, low carb, low everything, low, like, everything's low calorie, low fat, low carb.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
eat, right?
yeah. Okay, so there's a couple different directions that are important to discuss about carbohydrates. I think the probably the first thing, because if I stopped eating carbs, even right now, like whatever time it is, like 1, if I stopped eating carbs right now, I would weigh a lot less tomorrow morning than I would if I continued on and ate my carbs throughout the day.
Okay.
On the scale, I would probably be up to 2 pounds less. I would actually do an experiment on that, except I'm not going to do that because I got to stay on my program.
Yeah.
and
That would
if
be a
I'm
cool experiment.
at what? But I just started prep and I cannot do any bullshit right now. The reason is because carbohydrates, they are what carries water through your body, right? So when you have a good amount of carbs, you also have a good amount of water, which is great for our bodies. It is great for our brains. We are watery beings. We have a lot of water. The less carbohydrates you have, the less water is being carried through your body. So the instant drop in weight that people see,
Right.
some people don't care. They just get real jazzed up about the scale going down, right? And then a second way to look at it is just what we discussed a second ago is when you cut out carbohydrates, you're cutting out a lot of snack foods, a lot of high calorie, low nutrient, what I call low volume carbs like potato chips, cookies, cakes, all the little highly palatable foods that are also like highly processed.
Yeah.
So when you remove that option, again, we're back to a calorie deficit
Yeah.
and what you're going to choose. I think the somewhat, arguable danger of a low carbohydrate diet to me, even if someone was like, this is how I choose to be in a calorie deficit, I worry about the long-term effects of a really low fiber diet.
Hmm.
And I don't know, like I've not read studies or even really seen very much because people usually don't sustain a low carbohydrate diet at all
No, I
because
never even tried it once. I hate the idea of that. Never,
I
ever.
yeah, I've been low carb before. It was called something different, but a lot, it's
Atkins.
that well, or even like to me, arguably paleo. A lot of those things
Yeah.
turn into low carb because the carbs you have to eat, you have to you have to fix them.
Yeah,
You
compensate
know,
for it somehow. Yeah.
yeah. You got to prepare. Like it's hard to eat sweet potatoes all the time because you got to cook them and bake them and do all this stuff. Goes back to not wanting to do the work, but it's just it's not necessary. I think if people want to be in a calorie deficit and lose weight by not eating carbs, and you like that, that works for you, that's fine. But if you are doing it, you like carbs, you want to eat carbs, but you're telling yourself they're bad, they're evil, they're why I'm overweight, that is inaccurate and will not be sustainable because it's a lie.
Yeah, I actually was reminded of kind of an important distinction because you can watch all the little health and fitness influencers and they impart their wisdom or advice onto the world, and they'll
Yeah,
say something that you take as dogma and like, this is it, this is what I have to do because I got to look like that. Like, everyone's, it sounds so generalized, but it's so true that everyone's body is so different. So I always like to use this example between like Casey and I. Like, when I first started getting coached properly and staying on a program for an extended amount of time, I realized that I was naturally just low carb. I would have never ever thought that. Like,
mm-hmm.
because when I first started tracking, what Zoe did for me was like, don't worry about it. Track what you normally would, regardless, and let's just see what your trends are, right?
Yeah,
And so I was like, okay, no problem. And so I realized how my fats were astronomical,
yeah,
100 grams plus, and my carbs were low. Everyone thinks that it's the opposite usually, and I've heard that
yeah,
happen a lot. But then Casey, of course, she's been in it a lot longer. Her natural go-to is more carb and low
yeah.
fat. And it made no sense to me because I'd be like, just put a spray of butter on that. She'd like look at me like I committed a sin of murder. But it's just, I wanted to bring that up because it's like everyone's bodies, if you want to be a little bit higher, as long as it balances the scales, is kind of where I'm going with it. But you know what I
And there's
mean?
nothing wrong with that. For me, with working with lifestyle clients, if someone wants to, protein is to me, it's inarguable. You need the right amount of protein for your body. That's the utmost important. And then it is fine to just eat your protein and then use the rest of the calories, whatever you have left over. Say you have like 1,500 calories left over, to divide up between carbs and fat as you want. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that unless, you people want to dial it in a little tighter, they don't, if they feel like they don't know if carbs or fat work better for their body and for their results, then yeah, tap into full macro tracking, get a little bit more serious. But man, it's so easy to track protein and then just stay in a calorie range.
Yeah.
That is like, it's not easy when you when you're trying to eat out and stuff, because woo, those calories add up at a restaurant. But it is simple, and simple is what you want, especially starting out.
Yeah. I agree. And I like simple. We love that word.
I do. I like simple because none of it's easy. So at least give us simple.
Yes. And that usually is easier for me. If it's simple, it's easier. But yeah, so let's talk about our next little thing, which is plateaus. This can apply to fitness as well, but we'll
Mm-hmm.
do that in another episode. So nutrition plateaus, and that people generally think that they have to do, which we also talked about a little bit, that they have to do something extreme to get over. I lost
Uh-huh.
the 10 pounds, but I have 10 more to go. Like, it's so stubborn,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
So first of all, a lot of frustration in health and fitness comes from unrealistic expectations from things you've been told in the past, from before and afters you've seen online. I lost 20 pounds in a month. And we just have really unrealistic expectations of our bodies. And they're not machines. I mean, they are machines, but they're like alive machines. They don't care about your expectations. My body does not care that I wish I could get stage lean and eat 3,000 calories a day. Your body doesn't care. It's doing what it does, right?
Yeah.
And we have to respect that. And so if you just don't lose weight one week, you're not in a plateau. It could be digestion. It could be related to around your cycle. It could be because you didn't lose weight on the scale this week. That's all that means. But if you get into, a kind of thing where it's like, it's been a couple weeks, it's been a few weeks, the scale hasn't budged, I've hit a plateau. First thing you got to do is check yourself. Really do like a habits audit, because plateaus come later on, past the honeymoon phase of the excitement, the let's freaking do this, the woo of starting a weight loss program or muscle gain or whatever it is. And again, plateaus can also come when you're trying to gain muscle and you're not seeing the scale go up.
Yes.
Hello, that happens to me. And so what happens a lot is you kind of backslide on those little things to put yourself back in your comfort zone. And it's almost unconscious where, okay, so let's say when you start your new, like you've got your macros, you've got your meals planned out, and you're hitting and it's great. Everything's going good. We're cool. Well, the new wears off, right? Your motivation that you feel, the energy for it that you feel kind of levels out. And maybe you start finishing the food off your kids' plate. Maybe you stop measuring your yogurt out on the scale and you start eyeballing it. And you start doing the same thing with peanut butter. And you add a little olive oil because it keeps sticking on your pan. But it's nothing where you feel like you haven't gone off the rails. It's not like you're secret eating a pizza at midnight every night.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. But those little things are usually exactly enough to take us out of that calorie deficit.
Yeah.
Like our bodies know that we are in a calorie deficit and we want back in our comfort zone. So we eat just enough to take ourselves out of that discomfort. That's most plateaus. Most plateaus are just habits that have slacked off.
Right. Yeah. I like that you mentioned, like, it's not like you're eating a pizza in the middle of the night or doing the late night Taco Bell run, but yeah.
Yes, you're just going off the rails all weekend long. And like, yeah, I guess, yeah, it makes sense that I didn't lose weight. I didn't track Saturday or Sunday, that kind of thing. But it's the day to day falling back into the habits that we were in before. And it's easy to do. Everybody's going to do it. And it's, like I said, it's amazing how it's just enough to keep us stagnant. It's like you feel like you're doing a lot of work because you are, but you're also undoing it with very little effort.
Yeah, and I could see how that does. I mean, I'm a victim of it because I do tend to eyeball when I don't feel like putting out the scale. So I hear that.
Pull out the scale.
I know. I hear that. Or just like even if my favorite honey mustard, it's low, like it's the Ken Steakhouse, like it's like really macro friendly, and I'll just be like, that looks like 2 tablespoons.
That's a perfect example. Yeah. Like literally a perfect example of ketchup, right? It's ketchup. It's not high calorie. It's a little bit. Did you do that every single day? Right? Are you quantifying your cooking oil? It's just little things like that. So dialing back in is
I gotta reel it in. Yep, I got it. Okay, all right.
Why wouldn't you? You're already in a calorie deficit mindset, which is fatiguing, right? Yeah. Why wouldn't you put in 10% more effort to get your results? Like, don't be easy on yourself. Don't.
Okay.
You are not. Yeah. No, I'm not talking to you, Caitlin. I mean, I am, but I'm just talking in general.
I know.
It's just like you don't take it that easy on yourself. Like a little bit more
Right.
effort, a lot more results. And another thing about if you've hit a plateau and you're in a calorie deficit and you've hit a plateau and you literally are, you've audited your habit, you are on track and you are not losing weight anymore. You're not in a calorie deficit anymore. You're just not. Maybe it's because you've already lost 10 pounds, so your BMR is lower. That's exactly how bodies work, right? If you were
Right. Yeah.
150 pounds and now you're 140 pounds, it takes less energy to operate 140 pounds. So
So
you
the
got some
deficit's
choices to make.
closed up a little bit.
Yeah, and your body, will adapt. Our bodies are super smart at keeping us alive, thank God. So it's
Yeah.
going to your body weight's going down, and plus your body's adapting to bring down your how many calories it needs to keep you alive. It's all adapting. So you have choices. If it's kind of like a thing you talked about where you've worked really hard and you've lost this amount of weight and you only have 5 or 10 more pounds to go, I can't always get people to do it, but when I can, go to maintenance for a while. Like get out of your calorie deficit, reverse for a month, 2 months,
Hmm.
and then hit a deficit again. Focus on building muscle, raising your metabolism, raising how many calories you burn a day just existing, living and breathing. So that the next time you go into a deficit that is a true deficit, you will get those last 5 or 10 pounds. It's
Yeah, that sounds
very
so
rarely,
backwards. Yeah, but I
it
like the
does,
sound of
right?
it.
No, that's what works. Very
Yeah,
rarely are you going to hit a good weight loss goal in one cut.
that's true. That's very important to
Yeah,
remember. Yeah.
it is because again, with adaptation, you're just going to have to keep lowering and lowering and lowering and lowering your calories.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I wanted to bring up because it's still out there about having to eat like 1,000 calories a day just to lose weight. Like that's one of the thing that I did want to bring up and debunk a little bit because I feel like it's getting better as far as that information goes, right? Do you think that or no?
I do, and then I'll just get jacked in the jaw again. You know what I mean? Like I'll think
Yeah.
like, oh, we're not doing this anymore, and then somebody will say something, or I'll say something, and I'll be like, okay, well, no, literally nothing has changed.
Okay, never mind. I guess I'm like in a cocoon of yeah. So that is one myth I wanted to debunk that okay, I want to lose the 10 or 20 pounds. Let's eat 1,100 calories for the next
Oof,
something.
oof,
Yeah. Why
and
doesn't
it
that
blows
work,
my
Lindsay?
mind. It does work, but you
Well,
can't
yeah.
do it. And it does. All these all these diets work.
Yeah.
They put you in a calorie deficit. You're going to lose fat. And if you hit a protein goal, or you're going to lose weight, if you hit a protein goal and you're lifting, you're going to lose fat. But none of it matters. None of it is worth anything if you're just going to gain it all back.
Yeah.
It's demoralizing. It's depressing. It's unhealthy, right? It's hard on your systems to yo-yo diet. I do think everybody knows that at this point, that it's really hard on your heart and your other organs to
Mm,
constantly be eating way too much, eating way too little, eating way too much, eating way too little. Like it just does not work for health span or lifespan. So, because I'll tell you this, and this, it kills me. And there's a lot of reasons I love competing. But probably the most valuable coaching life lesson I learned through competing is how hilarious it is that people think they should be eating 1,200 calories a day. Because let me tell you, that is the lowest calories I have ever eaten in my life. And I felt like I was on Naked and Afraid, like eating a worm every day, just so hungry all the time.
yeah. And then when
And
you
that's a sport.
yeah, yeah, I was just gonna say that's a sport, and when you do that, that's for I mean, how
That's an
long?
extreme. It's an extreme sport, Caitlin. It's not
Yeah,
like I'm out here playing pickleball. Like this
yeah,
is a long term like sport, and the hard part of bodybuilding is the diet.
yeah,
Right? It's working out is working out. It's like I guess if someone hates working out, it would be the part. But the hard part's the diet because again, it's the tempo. Nothing changes. Monday through Sunday. Your body, not like again, your body and your results don't care if it's somebody's birthday or if somebody's getting married, if it's a holiday or a weekend night at your favorite restaurant. The results don't care. You have to be mentally, physically strong enough to hit those numbers. And 1,200 calories goes like this.
That's so true. And also, amen. Did you watch that video I sent in our Instagram group chat about the Dr. Huberman, the brain thing he was talking about?
Where? What group chat? We have so many chats. Is it
The
Instagram
ins-
or
the
Voxer?
Instagram one.
I don't remember that, but I may have because I follow Andrew Huberman and I may have just melded the two in my brain.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, he was being interviewed on a different podcast, and he was talking about a really cool scientific study that just kind of came out that there's an area of the brain, and this was like done on humans, like not rats. There's an area
Oh,
of
that's
the.
refreshing.
It is like it's a little more relevant to our species. Plus, also you can do this humanely, but or like test it, I guess. But there's like an area of the brain that they discovered. Don't this says scientific? No, I'm not gonna remember it.
A new area of the brain
A new
previously
area.
undiscovered. It's not even that big.
I don't know if it's just like a. I mean, not literally a different like
But like
physical
its
part of the
function.
brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, a different function of the brain. Right. Okay. Where they were able to track it in how when you do hard things, it evolves your brain. Like it makes it grow so that when you're
Like the
doing
area of the brain.
yeah, something like that. And I'm sabotaging the explanation, but it was just really cool because I've talked about this before. When I learn about my brain, it makes me so much easier on myself because I'm like, my brain's just growing. I got to give myself some grace. So like when I do, that's why when you start this new healthy habit, it fucking sucks at the beginning. But your brain, as you keep doing it, your brain is literally growing and it gets
Mm-hmm.
easier. And that's why they say that consistently do hard
Yeah.
things because it helps with your
Yes.
lifespan and all this stuff. Oh, it was so cool. But I had to bring
Oh,
that
I'm
up.
gonna listen to that. Send it to me specifically. It might have got lost in the
Okay.
in the chain, but
Yeah.
I feel like that with myself. And that's why I'm constantly having to think of new stuff to do hard to me.
Oh, yeah.
You do get better at it, and there's no friction there. And if there's no friction, there's no growth, right? Like if there's never any friction, if there's never any discomfort, if there's never any disgruntledness about performing something, then you're no longer improving. And that's why, like, I will start and stop cold rinses. Like I stopped them forever after my last competition because I didn't care anymore. Like it didn't bother me anymore. So
Yeah.
now, and it sounds so sick when I say it out loud, but now that I've started prep again, the first thing I did was I started those cold showers again because it's January and it is living hell for me to get in that cold water first thing in the morning and stand there for 5 minutes.
Ugh. Yeah.
Guess what it's going to help me do when I start having to, when I get tired of being on my macros, being super strict, when it gets to a point where I'm not even eating much at restaurants anymore, and I am, kind of dealing with hunger and fatigue and different things that come with prep, I'm going to be a little bit more callous about being a wiener about it because I'm good at doing hard things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if everything bothers you, you're too soft. Like you need to figure out how to make yourself uncomfortable and do
Yeah.
it anyway. And people are like always like, you need a break. You need to find self care. I don't think so. I think you need to get a little bit tougher and do the hard things you need to do every single day so that something like following a good diet does not seem like it's ruining your life.
Yeah. I could go on a whole tangent about being too soft. That can apply to so I like my mind just like raced really fast. It's like every subject I could talk about that anyway, but I won't because this is
Well,
not
and
a
we
hot.
get it. It's people like, and I will too get into a thing about like, it's the diet industry, right? It's how people talk to women about things. It's this, it's that. There's always going to be bullshit. It
Yeah.
is 100% up to your grown woman self, which you choose to accept as good enough for you. There's always going to be junk. We have to understand that no one's responsible for me but me. And accepting that responsibility and quit being so lax on the things you know you need to get better, you got to do it.
Amen.
Or stay the same. Do it or stay the same, basically. You don't have to
Yeah.
do it all at one time, but pick something out. Admit to yourself you like carbohydrates. Admit it. Admit that you like apples. Tell you like potatoes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do like potatoes. You know they're not evil. They grow out of the ground. Figure out how to fit them in so that you are happy, satisfied, and progressing to your goals.
Amen. Gosh, we're just like on the pulpit today. I love it.
I always get up there even when I don't mean to. I like
I
your
love it.
glasses, by
Oh, thank you. I've had them forever. You've seen me in them in person too, but I'll take a
the way. Yeah,
compliment.
maybe it's the shirt or something. Something's vibing today.
I'm just in my workout shirt. Whoop. Uh, what I
I would do it back. I would do it back at you, but it would be so much less impressive. I'm just going to keep it to myself.
when I first got this little bra, I showed it to Mark, right, and he was like, "I hope you're, not gonna wear that to the gym." I'm like, I'm not gonna wear that to the gym. I'm gonna have a shirt on over it. It's just a cute bra, like.
And what if you did? Yeah, what is the saying? Wish in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up faster.
Yeah. Anyway, that was for everyone's viewing pleasure. No, I'm just kidding. It was not.
Everybody on YouTube, you got a little whoop whoop.
It's not that salacious. But
No, it's not.
anyway,
I've seen way worse at Planet Fitness. Way worse.
yeah. Plus, you've seen my check-in photos.
Facts.
There was the one time I accidentally uploaded. It was before I was with you. I think I told you this. Before I was with you, I was taking the photos. I was like, oh, I forgot to, cover my boobies. And so I took two front facing photos, but I accidentally uploaded the first one. So it was a
Yeah, I don't care.
whoops.
I like the amount of female bodies I have viewed.
Yeah, me too, but
Like
also boys.
I don't know.
Look.
I don't know what you would have to do to shock me in a check-in photo, but it would have to be pretty intense.
But it would be hilarious. Like if that happened, if I accidentally did that, that would make your day, right?
Oh yeah, I don't care. I had a she's like, I didn't have time to go find before check-in. I didn't have time to go find my check-in outfit. Literally sent me like uploaded pictures with pants around the ankles and like a smiley face and stuff over like the front crotch and the buttholes.
That's hilarious. It's just, the little things, right?
Hey, she got it done.
That's so funny. True, true. All right. So, last one that we want to talk about, which we've touched on a little bit, was that people wrongly assume how much they're eating without having to track it. Mark's a big.
You know, it's up to 50% in accuracy.
Ooh.
50%. When you have people do diet recall versus tracking, the discrepancy is about 50%. And a lot of that is like we talked about fat grams. Just
Yes.
genuinely underestimating the amount of fat in foods,
Yeah.
especially restaurant foods and that were not prepared in your home. It's a big deal. So even someone that doesn't have the goal of tracking, like that feels like that's either unhealthy or too big of a buzzkill in just their life, to track their food, buzzkill your life for a week and track your food. Track your food, even if that is not your, like, if your ultimate goal is to like eat intuitively, I think is the word, then you still, it sounds so counterintuitive, but if you want to eat intuitively, you need to track, because you trust me when I tell you, you don't know how much you're eating. You don't know how many calories you're eating.
Yeah, or that the one day it's the 1100 and the next day it's 25, and like the big daily yo-yo. That
Oh, and
happens
if
a
it's
lot.
like a day where you're eating out, or you eat out twice, one day it's, 1,500 and the next day it's 5,000. Like,
Yeah.
it's that big of a difference in 5,000 calories. I mean, you think, oh God, if I ate that, I would be miserable, like dying, about to bust.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, and I think everybody should track at least once in their life.
Just out of curiosity, right? Like, to
Yeah.
see how much protein you're getting in, for one thing. Like, that's the number one thing. I don't know if I've ever had a client come in that was not tracking and was eating the amount of protein they needed.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one. Because even when I track every single day, I'm just like, God, I still have some more left. Where am I going to get this? Like, what am I going to do? And I'm still tracking. Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
don't assume. Yeah, and I think that it does sound counterintuitive to like track so you can intuitively eat, because intuitive eating
Yeah.
sounds like the dream, but at the same time, it's not what people would think it would be, if that
It's
makes
not.
sense.
And a lot of times the same person that's goal is to intuitively eat, right? Like, I just want to eat naturally for my body. I just want it to
That's an
flow and let my
excuse
body
some
tell me.
people use.
But the same person is going to tell you it's the food industry's fault. It's the fast food. It's the additives. It's this, like, pick your poison. I mean,
Yeah.
unless you know right now how to go turn over big farm, big food, big sugar, all those things, unless you know how to do that right now, that's just bitching, right? It's not going to change your reality.
Yeah.
You need to do, take control of your food, track it, find out what's in it, use the foods that you like, that you feel comfortable eating, and see how much you're eating, and just change those amounts. Like, that's all anybody's ever, like, I don't do not sell supplements. I'm never going to try to sell you anything. But when you tell people, like, oh, you need to track, you need to see how much you're eating, like, oh, I don't think that's healthy. You gotta pick what you hate worse, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the like, if you don't like it, that's fine, but like, say that. Like, it's perfectly healthy. I mean, I guess it can become, if you have like, I've one caveat would be for people who have eating disorders and that triggers them. That's a
Correct.
whole other
That's a
thing.
therapy issue.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm a health and fitness coach. I am not a therapist.
Yeah, so like, be real with yourself and be like, it's not like, no, it's, you don't want to do it. You don't want to feel like you're in the cage of restriction constantly. And sometimes I have to get myself out of that mindset. Sometimes I am like, I'll have to be like, Caitlin, it's not, you're fine, of like,
Yes.
yeah, tracking is like, I'm in a prison forever. I have to do math all the time. Like,
It's tracking, like, when I track my day in the mornings, because I still do that. And it's because it makes my life so much easier.
yeah.
But it's like one of those, and I still get annoyed, right? I'm like, oh, my family's eating this for dinner. I don't want to eat spring rolls.
Yeah.
Get up, it's like, you're fine.
Have the tantrum. Well, it'll happen forever, but
Because
like, yeah.
you're gonna eat for a little bit, like, whatever, how long it takes my family to eat, 7 minutes. We're gonna sit down and we're gonna eat, and then it's done. Like, that one expanse of time of feeling a little bit, again, we get back to uncomfortable. That comfort zone would have been maybe, I'm like, I'm just gonna eyeball it. I'm gonna eat the spring rolls and the peanut sauce and the blah blah blah, not eat my meal I have ready. Right? That's my comfort zone. Probably would have been exactly enough to pull me out of the progress I would have made that day.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of spring rolls, oh, I didn't
Oh,
post
I
it.
love them. I still want them. I still
I
do want them.
made
And I was talking about last night for real.
I think that was a real life example.
Yeah,
Last night
that
for
was real life.
dinner, I made this amazing dish. It was so good. It was like orange glazed meatballs, like over rice. Like it was kind of an Asian-y thing. It was
Was it
really
a Hello
good.
Fresh or did you make it?
I made it.
Ooh, yeah.
It was so good. I just had.
I
I'll
got I've got stuff to make spring rolls because I need to know what's in them. You know what I mean? Like I need to know exactly how much is in my stuff right now. And
yeah.
like so I'm going to make them
Let
one
me know
day
how it
because I got
goes
all this stuff. I'm
because I
excited.
get that where it's like I want this, but like which applies to our topic, which same thing. I want this thing, but it's a little risky to like buy it from Mr. Wong's down the street. And so it's like, okay, let's be fun about this. Let's make something you've never made before. You're going to scratch the itch a little bit. It might be obviously it's a little bit more effort than getting takeout, but you and I like to cook. Some people would just murder themselves with the idea of doing something
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
this. You
I
know?
know. I do like it though when I have time. I do like to like make
Yeah.
a little fun,
It like
macro
scratches the
friendly.
itch. Yeah.
It does. And again, I got past it and I'm fine. And now I'm like on this mission to make spring rolls. But it's like, it's one of those things like, this is not in your plan. It's Wednesday. Calm down. You know what I mean? Like, you're probably going to want to eat at a restaurant this weekend and you got to make good choices that fit your whole life. And what do you want most versus what do you want right now that is literally a blip in time that it is
Mm.
a problem you can solve. This is not out of your control.
Amen. Amen. Again. I love it. So, okay. So, those were like the majority of our nutrition myths we wanted to talk about. What are your thoughts you want to leave us with? Last
Just
pulpit
to
reading.
be so nutrition is always going to be the hard part and let go of buying a light switch for your health and fitness goals because and I see a lot of stuff that is geared towards weight loss but it focuses on gut health. A lot of stuff that is sold for weight loss under the ruse of uh, hormones or DNA and what nutrients you need to blah 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 blah. And that is all fine and good. You can improve your gut health. Absolutely. You should know where your hormones are and where you may need to supplement or pay attention with natural things or non natural things. Like, I don't care how you do it. You may find out that, you know, a DNA test tells you something. All of that is great. All of that is good. And guess what? You still have to do the work with nutrition and fitness and working out. Like you're not going to find something that negates the foundation of what's going to actually get you to the goals. It's like they're distractions, they're money grabs. Because if you started eating really, really well and doing a good amount of walking and cardio and lifting weights and getting healthy, guess what is going to happen without all of these different drinks and supplements? Gut health, hormone optimization, and digestion is going to be great.
Amen. I like the the part on just letting go, just let go, just get over it.
Yeah.
And I still have to, again, like I've said, I still have to remind myself just those quick moments in the day here and there, just a quick blip of like, well, what if I just no, you know?
I know. I still do it too. And like mine is always like, I don't want to eat my even if it's already prepared. I don't want to eat my little meal. I want to eat I want to go graze the pantry. That's what I want to do. I don't want to sit down and eat a meal. I want to eat 9 chips, a bagel, 2 Oreos, 9 Cheez-Its. That's what I want to do at the
Yeah.
end of the day. And like literally just having the processes and being able to be like, no, like we're not doing that. that one little split second of decision. Because if you do something over and over, that's not a mistake you're making. That's just a bad decision.
Yeah, that's true. Damn it. I'm just kidding. Well, thank you, Lindsay, again. I always appreciate your time. And this will, I don't know when this will air, but it'll be soon because we're also going to talk about fitness myths debunked in the following, very soon following episode. So that one will be fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can go through a lot of those too.
Yay, that'll be extra long. So yeah, look forward to the episode and say hi to us in the Facebook group. We love it. And until next time, peace out.
Bye.